Will I like it? Will I hate it? Let's find out with Nat at the movies. Hello once again, everyone. My name is Nattie. This is Nat Reviews, the series where I take a look at a random piece of media and give my thoughts about it. I shall be your hostess for this evening, and I am joined by my friend, in fact. Friend, introduce yourself.
Oh, this is Karl. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Karl, what did we watch this evening?
Apparently it was Six Pack. Another Kenny Rogers classic.
You mean the classic 1982 American comedy drama film directed by Daniel Petrie and starring Kenny Rogers, Diane Lane, Aaron Gray, Anthony Michael Hall, and Barry Corbin?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
We should have been warned from the poster.
But we adventured.
The poster just gives the entire film away just instantly. You already know everything about what kind of film this is going to be based off the poster alone.
With a minor surprise or two in the direction we did not really anticipate, but I anticipated a family film. You know, it's like, oh dear, another one of those family films.
Yeah, it is a family film.
Yeah.
In almost no ways. I would not watch this with a family. I would not tell your kids to watch this, definitely. There's a lot of things you would not want your kids seeing.
It does have children in it, and it does have some sort of familial references and tensions.
Yeah. It was poorly executed if they were trying to make it a family film.
That may have been the coincidental or peripheral on this perchance. But it did have Kenny Rogers and a song by him.
Just a song. It probably wasn't even written for the movie, to be honest.
I don't think it was, but it was there.
It exists. This film is, well, now 40 years old this year, coincidentally.
Wow.
In fact, July 16th, 1982, and we're watching it just about, the 17th of January. So, yeah, it's about 40 years old. It's definitely aged 40 years. So what happened in the film?
I was going to ask you, but well, it's an interesting start. An itinerant, I've never heard of that, but I guess it must have been a thing. An itinerant race car driver traveling and takes a rest stop and the gas station, manages to lock himself in the bathroom, and he does escape. His race car, stripped of engine, tires, all kinds of stuff. A very professional group must have gone there, I thought. It's like, that was quick. We were stuck in there for quite a while.
He's just been stuck in there for like an entire day, not knowing how a door works, or figuring he could just kick the door open, likely.
Yes, I don't want that on my epitaph. It's locked himself in a bathroom at a gas station while his car was stripped.
Also, the van that was chasing him around, why was it so speedy? Why was it like the one bit in the Sgt. Pepper's movie?
Actually, that was quite a clip there. And for considering the drivers, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have taken that one to the racetrack. From what I saw, some of those episodes.
At one point, the van almost rolled over.
Yes, I don't think that was intended, but that's a fortunate.
It's like, okay, we only have one take at this, guys. Don't screw it up. Oh, it looks like he almost rolled over. Damn it, we only have enough film for one take. We can't do another take. We'll have to roll with it. Yeah, some of the scenes do not look like they were more than one take.
Oh, dear. Yes, and he did manage to chase him down somehow.
Indeed. Going through somebody's random farm as well.
And yeah, so they, instead of going over the bridge that seemed to have no planking, they went right over next to it and right into the river with that van. Whoa.
Akin to Deuce of Hazard, Smoking the Bandit, 1, 2, and 3. Not really
Yada,
much
yada,
of the third film or even the second film. The second film didn't have like any stunts. Anyway, we've talked enough about Smokey, so there's a
remember
lot
a
of things
second.
around that time that seem to have like jumping car stunt things like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, very popular. Yeah, popular theme. Cars crashing, going to lakes. No car explosions, though. I don't think we had any explosions, did we? We had a fire. Oh, that was in the engine when later. That's later in the film.
Yeah.
And what a surprise when his robbers went into the river and he went down and oh, it was children. It was a car full of thieving
It looked like he was
children.
about to go chew out the thieves as they were in the water. Then he finds out they're children. Oh, damn, they're children. I have to save them now.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what it was. That it seemed like his reaction was.
Yeah, that's how his face looked. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, damn it, it's children. Then what happened from there, if you remember?
Well, it depends on what you mean by happy. Well, we just sort of followed along, didn't we? So, was there? He did rescue that one that was stuck on top of the van as it was sort of floating down the river. It did stop actually. So he swam out, became a hero, and they brought the little child back. And then there's 6 of them. That's quite a little gang, but they must have been orphaned. They were orphaned. So you try to sympathize with the poor little kids, even though they professional car strippers.
Among other things, yes.
Oh, yes.
And then I believe they went to the bar, or eventually. Bar, hotel thing. Bartail.
Oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Didn't oh, yeah, he did. Oh, they showed him. Yeah, he took him to their house, and then he found out that it was just them there, and it was the local sheriff. He calls it. I'm going to call the sheriff on you. Anyway, the sheriff showed up, and lo and behold, the sheriff was the one who had gotten these poor children to go around stealing car parts. That was a surprise.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect cops to be the bad guys in a family film.
Yes.
Because they're trying to push a certain way of thought in those.
I thought so.
And suddenly it's the cop who's the bad guy we're not supposed to root for.
And this is back in what, 1982? My goodness.
Yeah, a corrupt cop. Who'd have thunk? Then from there, they had that whole breaking out of jail scene. And then the car just falls apart in the street as they're trying to give chase because the kids, tore it apart somehow. And then was able to time when it would fall apart.
Yeah, that one smart kid, the one who at some point fixed the radio in his camper. Yeah. So they're creative little kiddies.
Yeah. I wonder how much of the budget was due to that.
Oh, I know. And so they didn't have any massive car chases in Iraq, well, other than that first one. And so to have the police car or the sheriff's car have to, fall apart amusingly and entertainingly down the street, and I guess they got that bit in. It wasn't quite the big budget as some of our films, but they had one in there.
Yeah. And trying to recall what happened next.
Yes, I think we had that problem while we were watching it too.
What happened after that?
Oh my goodness, storyline. Oh yeah, it wasn't a storyline. What was there? Well, let's see. At some point, they kept trying to steal car parts for him because since he rescued them, and apparently their car parts had already been taken away or delivered, so they stopped at that one motel. Oh yes, he was in the bar. Turns out it was his old girlfriend, I think, and the children went out and were stealing parts from some of the other drivers' cars that were there. Yes.
It's convenient that all the drivers stay at one place.
Yes.
And have all their vehicles unattended or anything. Just right out in the open. Anybody can go fiddle with them. Which, turns out, there's a lot of fiddling going on due to the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, this sort of careless, like, not even, putting your car in a safe spot or having somebody to keep an eye on things.
Yeah, they're just strutting about the parking lot like they were drunk before they even went in the bar.
Yeah.
And then, eventually it leads to a dumpster fire, which is a good place for this film.
Yeah, the children were the ones that set that up. So you got the kids. It was a diversion they set up. Oh my God! Not only were they taught how to steal cars and strip cars really, really fast, they set up a diversion. There was 2 dumpsters, and they were pouring gasoline in.
Big, large gasoline things too.
Yes.
Remember, it was like big old jugs.
Yeah, a couple of 5-gallon jugs, I think, of gasoline. Well, fire safety there.
And remember, there was the cigarettes on top of the fire extinguishers in the gas station near the beginning of the film.
That's right.
But, trying to recall, didn't he then eventually get his stuff stolen by the kids to force him to become a racer despite him not wanting to be a racer in a sense?
Yeah, it kind of became a blur, because since he's an itinerant race car driver, he seems to travel these different places. I mean, he knew the places apparently because some of the drivers recognized him. But the children had that little thing about stealing car parts for everything, and he kept telling them that was a very bad thing for them to do. Until he eventually sort of like chummed up with them. Yeah.
But yeah, the kids are clearly bad. You should not be hanging around such a bad group that constantly steals, lights things on fire, etc.
Yeah. And let's see. The language was,
there was a lot of language. There was a lot more swearing in that than I think the entire Smokey trilogy we watched.
I think you're right. And half or 3/4 of it was just from the children. That was a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently that was, somebody wrote the script and somebody thought that would be amusing. It's always, used to be portrayed as cute when a little child inadvertently said something naughty and people giggle. But this is like, dude, they're out swearing Kenny Rogers, and he put a few out there too. So It didn't. To be fair, they didn't. I don't think it specifically said it was a family film, but it was just. I rather anticipated that from the
It looks like it's advertised to be that.
Yes, from the poster and having 6 little children, and yeah. So. And there were several races in there. Actually, they had some good footage. There was some interesting footage in there.
Yeah, they were able to get some real good camera shots there.
Yeah. And you recognize some of the tracks, I think, that they visited, you pointed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, around midpoint in the film, I would suppose, what was Kenny's condition?
Oh, my goodness. What condition his condition was in.
I think that was around the time he initially leaves the children, and then they do all the, trying to guilt trip him there to get him back.
Well, yes,
that's how the film portrays it. Like, he's leaving them. They're bad influences. As it would even be confirmed later in film. But, like, they're bad influences. They constantly just do bad things. He knows they're bad. He wants to lead them. Just because they're orphans doesn't mean he has to be the one to, adopt them and such. But they keep forcing him to do things, to do what they want him to do.
Yeah, at some point I think they I wouldn't say father figure, but a family figure. They decided they wanted him as like wait a minute, they wanted him as their papa, their little family unit, and I can understand that because they didn't want to be split up. They were orphaned, and they finally found somebody who wasn't directly taking advantage of them, but they were using some of the things I think they were taught,
and they were taking advantage of him.
Yes, they were taught. They learned behaviors, either taught or learned it from their. Being used by that sheriff for stripping cars. Oof.
Indeed.
Yeah. It's a confusing movie. It's kind of a hard movie to
It is a hard movie to follow.
Yeah, and then okay, we got to the end. Okay, it's like, how do we describe this? Well, this is one of the,
There's a lot of racing action, at least, when they ever show racing. And then you forget after a while that's a racing film because they keep cutting away from the racing so much.
Yeah, that was the best part, was the racing thing. That I could at least follow, even if it's in little spurts and bits.
Yeah.
Had the romantic thing. Of course, he happened to go to that one track, and so he was at that motel bar or whatever where he met up with his, I'm assuming, an old girlfriend by how they interacted or something.
His old flame.
My old flame. Yeah. And she didn't actually have much to do in the film either, did she?
Yeah, she kind of just vanished after saying after. Oh yeah, remember it was the part where he abandons the children.
Oh, he's trying to. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like. And then she keeps, bad mouthing him and all that. And then when he comes back, she's basically vanished after that. I don't remember seeing her after that.
Abducted. Yeah, because the children said something to him when they said, "But you promised us," or something along those lines, or you gave us your word.
He promised to bring them to Shreveport, and that was it. That was the deal.
Yeah. And then she says he does that a lot, or he says things a lot. And it's like. So they didn't even give her. They didn't even give her much of a part in that. Actually, she could have been put in a little bit more. So he's just going to be single parent or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they basically forget she exists in the film. The last mention I remember is the kid saying, "But she said you have to take care of us."
Yes,
and they didn't have her saying that on screen.
And I don't even.
Maybe she didn't even say it. They're just. They have to take the kids' words there.
I think so.
Because the kids seem to be really trying to, do things to him there. And also really want to take advantage of his money that he gets. And then tries to make him feel like, oh, you should get us a house. You should adopt us. It's like, okay, you're really trying to force him to do things.
You know,
You should take your money and get us a house. Look at our house.
Yeah, I hate to say that this actually would have had the makings of one of those what I anticipated as a Disney-esque or TV family special films if they worked a little bit better with it. It's like they weren't. It's almost like they weren't trying. They seem to have so many references, intentional or otherwise, that sort of flared in and out.
Yeah, it's just trying to take bits and pieces from a lot of other films and then try to put it all together as one and act like it's its own film.
Yeah, it's kind of like the writers just like stayed up on a weekend binge or bender and just started watching all family films and tried to grab little bits they could remember coherently the next work day and just piece into a script. Now, the children, there's a little, I understand, not that it was ever my thing, but the idea that, it's kind of cute when the children swear or repeat something. It's like, no, this went beyond that concept. There was a lot out of their mouths constantly through the film. Even to the very end, I think, pretty much up to the end there was. It's like, it's kind of like fart jokes and bathroom humor. It's just like, after a certain point, the first time or 30 or 50 it was amusing, but after a bit, no. You could have gone somewhere else with it.
Wow, this cute, innocent character is swearing. Wow, that's hilarious. They must have taken after Robot Chicken.
If one of them did, if there was one who kept slipping or something, you could say, okay, but partner, I think that the girl there, she's about the only one who I don't recall her swearing. Pretty much the other boys I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but then no, the scene when she's providing a distraction. I mean, I know I'm missing the different races, but in effect, it didn't make that much of a difference where you sequence it. Yeah. Where she was providing a diversion from that one driver while her brothers were stealing. Oh, they didn't steal this time. They exchanged the cylinder heads. The cracked
stealing and then putting your stuff in theirs. That's still stealing, but it's at least a trade.
In their minds, they thought it was something a little bit better.
It's an unconsensual trade. You don't
transaction.
You don't get to make a decision here. We're doing it for you.
Yeah, I mean, and the guy they took the good parts from. He's a quote bad guy in the film, but still, it's stealing.
Also, they could have killed that guy, having his car blow up by putting in the broken parts in. And then they act like it's funny. Look, he actually blew up because of us. Like, y'all are gonna murder someone. Y'all are perfectly fine with murder, and then say, "Oh, it's fine because he's a bad guy." Stealing from someone who's you claim is bad is still stealing. It doesn't make you any better.
Oh my gosh. I'm afraid we just watched this, and we've watched movies, and then a few hours later, done a review or whatever. But it's hard to remember anything outstanding on this film, or it stands out. I mean, forgive me.
Other than the extremely uncomfortable camper scene.
Oh yeah, as I said, when the who I presume to be an older teenage girl. Put herself at risk to provide a diversion. So while her brother stole or exchanged parts, so that Kenny Rogers could have a running car.
Yeah. And then they kept focusing on her doing this. Like, this is really uncomfortable.
That was unnecessary.
That was a very uncomfortable scene, and that is one reason I definitely say do not watch this with children.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they used that premise, even mildly touched upon it, it did not have to go prolonged the way they did, and to have her there in the vehicle and dressed up, wrong word, but I mean, really dressed up like she didn't normally look, and then be in the vehicle with the guy. They showed the bedroom, and it just went on way too long to say, but just here's a glimpse, here's a hint at something bad, and then go on. It's like, how long was that? Like 5, 10? It was protracted anyway. Quite a while. 5, 10
Yeah,
minutes.
and the person who played that character, they made their debut 3 years earlier at the age of 14 in a film. So they were underage doing that scene. That's even worse.
And portraying somebody underage, portraying somebody underage, and putting in a very adult scene. That's no.
Oh, that's even worse now that I know that. Oh no. That scene especially, I really do not want to give any more details. It is
No.
not comfortable. But yeah,
Never, not needed on Journey, but yeah.
yeah, there is so many things wrong with this movie. There's so many things that could be spoken in depth and for a very long time about. So many bad morals and everything.
All the way through. And at no point was it ever like they've learned their lesson. They won't steal again. It's like no,
And the one
that
time something good happened was when Kenny Rogers was leaving the bad influence, and they portrayed him as the bad person for doing that. And everything else is just bad, 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 bad. And then by the third act, they make it seem like the sheriff has been chasing him the entire film, like the Smokey movies would. And they act like he's been doing that the entire time. He hasn't.
He only saw
that
him a
makes
few
like
different times.
that makes like no impact at the end there. It's like, oh, he's back again. Okay. Like they didn't really establish him as a character throughout the entire thing as, oh, I'm gonna get these kids away from him, as Kenny Rogers uses child labor to make a race car.
Yeah. See, it's almost like they ripped off a character and didn't even want to put any effort into it. It's like,
yeah, the sheriff seemed like a discount version of what was already a parody of other earlier, dumb sheriff things. Dumb Southern sheriff.
It was a bad,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a bad effort at stereotype of a Southern sheriff.
Yeah, in the Smokey movies with what's his face, like
Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, he was already a parody of the ones who came before.
Yeah, and his was at least a little more entertaining. At least he was doing things all through it. Alternating scenes and that. But here it's like, I'm that character of the bad. I won't even use the word, but a bad Southern sheriff. He was using children to steal cars or car parts, and then he's here. You don't see any of his adventures or efforts driving across states, but he traveled several state lines. But you just saw him when he showed up. That was it. No chase, no amusing, things like with the Jackie Gleason, effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's just so much Southern imagery. Oh, there's just so much. You will not be confused for anywhere outside the South when watching this.
There was some pretty imagery, pretty countryside.
Yeah, like that dam. That was really pretty.
Oh, that was nice.
I would have loved to hang out there wherever that would have been. But it looked real nice and relaxing there. But you will definitely be reminded this is the South.
Oh, and that one scene where you got the children there, where he dressed up as law enforcement from Texas or wherever it is. It was a Boy Scout uniform apparently, or a Boy Scout troop leader's uniform, supposedly modified. the little badges and things.
Mm-hmm.
And the other law enforcement, well, the woman there, she didn't notice the difference or didn't question anything. And then he leaves with the children, and then right after that, who shows up? But, that's the other appearance, one of the other appearances by the sheriff.
And then also Kenny is impersonating an officer. Two, he then starts acting all creepy. He did not need to do that.
Yeah.
And sexual harassment to the little lady at the desk.
Oh yeah, the officer there, yeah. That's right, I forgot about that.
And also the way they go focusing on the badge so it's a Boy Scout thingy, then cuts back to her, ask him a question. He responds, "Oh, I like little boys," and then she says, "I'm sure you do."
Oh,
that was an implied joke, definitely.
Yeah, a little twisted for the content. I mean,
yeah,
film. I could see that is okay. That's that dark, questionable humor. You don't mean it as that, but you just reference it because it's a dark joke or something. But in what we assumed was going to be a family film, just because it had little children and.
Yeah, the poster makes it seem like it would be, a wacky little family picture.
Yeah.
And then when he's busting out of the bathroom at the very beginning, it makes it seem like it will be one of those, quirky family films.
Yeah. Yeah, goes in, door handle comes off, gets stuck. It's like, yeah.
Also, how many crimes and actual laws were broken during the making of this film? One obvious child labor stuff.
A lot of that nobody questioned.
A lot of the yeah, in fact, they started giving them, news coverage during the races. Like they're interviewing. Look, he's using children. Like it's a good thing. There's a lot of questionable things in this movie.
I know it's in person. Oh, I mean, granted, I'm from New York, and I still remember a lot of things, even though I'm out west here. But even as a child watching, I learned from TV what I didn't learn from people, and later on research. But impersonating a law officer for any purpose whatsoever is I believe, illegal.
Especially for what he was doing.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, setting fire to a dumpster, that's a crime. Definitely stealing things from multiple people for who knows how long, that is definitely illegal. The corrupt cop definitely doing things illegal.
Yep.
That one driver basically kidnapping Kenny Rogers and, beating him senseless and then leaving him by the hideous mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then randomly, there's just two hippies that pick him up. They're two hippies on a lot of drugs going to a NASCAR race. Sure. But yeah, by the end of the movie, they're doing the NASCAR race. Forgot to mention that point. But like,
and that's right. I was just saying that's right. You're right. Oh my goodness.
I think the hippie is one of the best parts of it. It's a very obvious one-note joke for them, but like, also, again, two hippies high on weed, both driving and going to a NASCAR race.
Yes. Oh, and backtracking as if I could even tell if I was. It was when Kenny was first arrested by the questionable standards sheriff and his or officer and his partner there. They sent that one little boy, the youngest one of the younger ones, went in to help him out, snagged the officer's service revolver, pointed it at the officer.
Oh, that's another. That's definitely illegal.
Oh, and dangerous.
Also, they had the key ring. You thought they would have just locked him in the cell that they tossed him into before running out of the place.
Oh yeah, he just slams the door and it just opens up and he goes out. It's like any movie I've ever seen or TV show when they put somebody in the they get the sheriff or the deputy or whoever and get the upper hand. They put him in there and they LOC. They lock it. I had to read. I guess they weren't reading the script. They lock the door. Takes a moment, and then they go out. You know.
It's like they had a lot of ideas for the movie, but didn't want to execute any of them.
Yeah. I'm still they stayed up on a weekend watching a bunch of movies, and then just trying to remember what to write down on the script Monday.
But yeah, the fact that they did arrest him at some point does mean that since he escaped, that means he is. Oh, and then they just let him keep going through all these races. And then at the end, because there's the camera crew there, despite Kenny, being an escaped, whatever it would be considered, because it was just jail. It was not prison. I don't know if convict is the word for a person in jail. But escaped in any sense from being locked up for whatever crimes, of breaking and entering, larceny, resisting arrest, and speeding, etc., etc. But also, why was the chase scene sped up? The speeding at the beginning there? I really do not understand that.
Oh god, that's an old trick. Yeah, I've seen that. Some films they used to do that, or it's just okay. We're going to be able to go about 30 miles an hour. So if we crank the film up, it looked like we're doing 60 or 70. And it usually shows, but I don't understand. Yeah.
But yeah, with the ending there, because the camera crew is there for it, they start turning things on the corrupt sheriff to make him be silent.
Yeah, he came all the way out here to take these convict children back to Texas, and your governor is watching. This I am sure. So,
the great people of Texas, like he was trying to cover his ass. Hey, if they get to swear like sailors, I get to just say at least one.
It's and that was basically hour and a half movie or so anyway. So it's not like it was like they had 73 minutes to cram everything in. You had a lot more time there. You could have done a bit better. There was. And I don't understand why they didn't keep his, the character of his girlfriend or former love, because they seemed to get along, other than the ones, where they got together as adults, and he's there, he's all dressed up, and he's in the bathroom grooming himself, ready to leave, and she's still asleep in the bed. It's like, wow, that's really romantic, and reminds me of some other characterizations of people. Like, wow, nice guy. If she had woken up, she'd probably just gone out the door and gone to the track. That was
trying to be a little like trying to paint Kenny Rogers as a Burt Reynolds-esque type there.
Just what I was thinking.
Yeah, Kenny Rogers is exactly what I'm imagining as a sex symbol.
Well.
Sorry, Kenny, I know you're dead. But, the movie did not know what it wanted to be. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
It just kept changing direction so many times, you could hardly identify what is an act structure.
Right. I agree. I mean, it could have had potential. I mean, I didn't. I still. I'm still not sure whether this was intended to be more of a family film, or the children were just trappings, or for
Is
his.
so confused.
That's why it was such a relief when they finally went to the first racetrack for me. It's like, cool, we're doing something. Yeah, cars are going. Yeah, we're racing here.
Also, Kenny is coming back into racing at 44. What does he think he is, Matt Kenseth? Like, you're coming back however many years after your last event. Like, you're in your mid 40s, dude. At least Kenny was in real life 44 at that time. Like, here you are in your mid 40s trying to make a comeback. Not
Well,
entirely certain that was much a thing in NASCAR even then.
It's like,
Oh, and that one rival driver who hardly has any presence in the film as an established thing, like the sheriff, they tried to make him seem like he was established throughout the entire film. The dude who dresses like Petty but is evil, like he is supposed to be one of the villains of the film, but just hardly is.
Well, he stepped out of that's the first impression I got. It's like, oh my god, guess who he's trying to look like? I was like, with that hat. The rest of them was like, the hat,
the glasses, the way he has the top of his thing, unzipped a little. He looks like Petty, especially with the giant STP logos all over it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he looks like an evil Petty, so I'm just going to call him Evil Petty because I don't know if he had a name.
Evil Petty.
If he did have a name, I forgot it real quick.
I forgot a lot of the things. Yeah. But well, they say you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, generally you can, but movie posters, I mean, it's the same sort of thing. The movie poster gives you the impression of one thing, and turns out to be not quite. There wasn't a lot of fleshing out of people in this movie, or characters.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's good. You're good.
You know how I was talking about the NASCAR race at the end, how it looked like they used real race footage? They actually did. That was actual footage from the 1982 NASCAR Coca-Cola 500. Wait a second, when did that happen?
Oh!
Give me a moment. If this is July 16th, 1982, when was the NASCAR race? Let me look. I just have to scroll down. Where is it? 1982. Yeah, March. So they had 3 months or so of putting that together.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Now, yep, it definitely seems rushed together. I'll give them that. Which, by the way, the 1982 Coca-Cola 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway was won that year by Darrell Waltrip. Anyhow, Darrell Waltrip did not make an appearance in the film. Only one NASCAR driver did, credited at least. It was Buddy Baker. But yeah, any other things happen in the film that you can remember?
Not clearly. Even the bar scenes, there was nothing.
Like, there's really, at least with Stoker Ace, we could remember for a few hours what happened. With this, I can't remember much at all. It just wanted to be so many things and couldn't be any of them.
The editing, it just. You could almost have done some, even if you had to leave in the little children swearing and some of that. They could have done so much better with it. Not that I think it'd be great, and I would never personally put an effort into it myself. I've thought about it years back because when I was younger, it's like, oh, that certain movie, I love that. But if I get rich someday, I'll buy the rights to it and restore the stuff and do it the way it should be, or fix little things is all. And this, it's like, I wouldn't touch this. I wouldn't. It's like, no.
As for the budget, by the way, it was between $11.5 and $13.5 million. Do you want to guess how much it got at the box office?
A little bit less than that, I would think. Do tell.
Exactly. $20,000,000, 225,989.
Well, they made some money out of it, apparently.
So near double.
That's not bad. I can't imagine why, but to be fair, hey, somebody enjoyed it. Whoever they at the end of
Mainly
the
because of
season,
Kenny Rogers, I feel.
I kind of
I
would,
think he was
yeah.
probably the main draw.
Yeah, absolutely, which I could understand.
Was this before or after he had done certain films?
Oh,
I don't know
after,
enough about Kenneth Ray Rogers, so I can't tell.
yeah,
Also, for 44, he looks a little advanced for 44.
I he I don't know. I guess it's in the research area, but yeah, I'm thinking he did not take care of himself, or at some point he misused himself for.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that's just a guess. But
Well,
some
go ahead.
people just don't age well. I guess I do not know.
Mm-hmm. Also, there was a lot of product placement in that film.
You gotta,
First off, the Baskin Robbins, which I did not know was a thing back then. The Kentucky Fried Chicken, the obvious NASCAR sponsorships.
Coca-Cola. That one of the children that walks across to the crew there. This big container of Coca-Colas.
Hmm. By the way, it was after he had done the Gambler television film.
I couldn't think of the name. Yes. I remember seeing him on TV shows, doing singing, entertaining things, but I always saw him as more as a singer than an actor. And I'm not saying I don't think he would be a bad actor. It's just you have to have a good script and a good story and have something else to do.
Indeed. He is also a co-founder of the restaurant chain, the Kenny Rogers Roasters, in collaboration with KFC.
Oh
I've never
my!
heard of them. Oh,
Interesting.
so the store's closed in the United States, but they're still a fixture in Asia. That's not
Oh,
where I was thinking that would go.
aha!
All right, Kenny, getting it done in Asia. I would
That's right.
not really think of Kenny Rogers having much, reach in Asia. The world works in mysterious ways.
Indeed. I hate to admit it, but I can't even remember the end. I sort of have a blur. All I remember is a news reporter. Oh yeah, it was a news reporter there. And of course, the child had that one little kid. He had to swear. He had to swear at the
That
end.
was like the last words we heard vocally spoken in the film as well.
Yes.
You got to remember, 3 times, it's still funny. Yeah, it's been like 30 times by the end of that film.
Yeah.
Wait a second. One of the kids' names was Diddler? Okay. All right.
That's an awful name to have to. And the children. I mean, despite I didn't like what the swearing and that, but the children actually weren't bad at acting.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of the actors of all the children, but some could act.
I mean,
Go ahead.
no, they act they were pretty. I mean, they were reasonable. I mean, there was nothing like, oh, this child has never acted, or they
Although that
what
youngest
they
one
were.
probably was acting for the first time.
Yeah, but for what they were given, for scripts and roles, I mean, I think they actually played them well. At their age.
Chuck Woolery played the race narrator, and Melanie McMullen played the pit girl.
Ah.
Or a pit girl. But yeah, Charles or Chuck Woolery was the original host of Wheel of Fortune and the original incarnation of Love Connection, if that name rings any bells.
Yes. Rather
And
does.
Buddy Baker was the one cameo. So, yeah. They didn't get much NASCAR involvement there.
No.
Like, it was mainly just at the very end. Even though before he even appeared in a NASCAR race car, he had a NASCAR suit. So, does this imply that he was a NASCAR racer at some point? Or was he always just a modified driver and just happened to have got a suit? I'm confused.
I wondered about that.
Because you could see Winston was on his suit. So the NASCAR Winston Cup Series logo was on his suit before he even got into a Winston Cup car, as much as the film showed, at least.
And we did finally get from him, from Kenny there, or his character, that his arch nemesis there had been his crew chief or his team, and sabotaged his car at that one race and made him look bad.
Yeah, we only found out that he was that kind of relation to Kenny's character, like, at the very end of the film. It's a little late to let us know who that.
Yeah, so now we understand why they were so antagonistic to each other. Yeah, but a little out of sequence for that. There could have been some other reference, and then they could have elaborated, perchance.
Yeah, that film was definitely not well executed. Like, I'm sure someone's going to enjoy it, but it's just too all over the place for me to follow, really, let alone enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but there's some blatant things. I mean, I keep going back to them, but there's only so many things I can coherently remember from this thing. But yeah, as I thought, and that was just me from the other movie models that you see there. He started to get along with the children, and he started to have open his heart to them, and he was going to be their father. And I thought that his girlfriend or former acquaintance was that they would get back together once he started showing responsibility and caring for others in a friendship or a family relationship. And that didn't happen. She just, and then at the end, he and she would get married, and they'd adopt the children, and they get that beautiful house the children wanted, or something like it. And she disappeared, and and it didn't know that happened.
Then at one point there was the guy trying to offer Kenny a ride and said his name is Penske. Obviously, they wanted a cameo by Roger Penske there, because Roger Penske's well known for being with Ford, by the way, as Ford loved to put their name all over the movie. Anyway, so that fact to me was interesting, but they definitely did not get the actual Roger Penske there. But you can tell what they were trying to go for.
Yes.
But yeah. As for filming locations, parts of the movie were filmed in Jefferson, Georgia, at is now known as Gresham Motorsports Park, and has been through like 10 different name changes by the looks of it. The film crew worked from the Holiday Inn Powers Ferry at Atlanta, Georgia. At least one scene was filmed in a guest room there. Another scene was filmed at a pub located in a strip mall up the hill from the Holiday Inn. That's the way to describe it. It was in a pub located in a strip mall up the hill from the Holiday Inn.
Like, okay.
The jail and sheriff car sabotage scenes were filmed in downtown Beaufort, Georgia.
Ah.
The scene with the van going in the river was filmed in Suwanee, Georgia, at Settles Bridge at the Chattahoochee River.
I will say there was some pretty scenery, the parts of the country down there. I did enjoy that. I did really
Yeah,
enjoy
the
that.
South is very pretty. It's just a terrible place to live. But, yeah.
Details.
The movie also features the hideous disgracing of Stone Mountain in one scene.
Ah,
The car chase scene was shot on Poplar Springs Road in Powder Springs, Georgia. The wedding scene. Oh yeah, there was a wedding. I forgot that at the
did he?
very end.
I kind of got that blur. So did he marry her?
So I'm
Did he marry
guessing she just suddenly reappeared for the
her?
thing where the credits are playing over.
That's what threw me because I thought that, but like I said, that surprise at the end, which I should have been surprised of the little kid swearing, at about the sheriff or whatever, and so because I thought, yeah, they got, but she disappeared for so long and just came up for that little blurry thing at the end of by the credits. I mean, eh.
The wedding scene was shot in a place I can't pronounce, United Methodist Church in Powder Springs, Georgia.
Ah.
Also, there was a television show in 1983 based off this.
Oh my! And I apologize because I'm picturing the end, and it's like, oh, there was a kind of a wedding scene thing, but usually when there's a wedding thing, the other person getting married, you'll see their character a little bit more often or more pertinent to what's going on.
Yeah, wait a minute. You would think with them getting wedded, they would have at least had a scene where they, were getting back together at least. Because last time we'd seen her, like halfway through the film, she was antagonistic.
Yeah, all I remember is seeing her left there in the bed. That's about the last time that really sticks in my mind. Yeah.
So unless he married the underage child, which is Georgia, who knows? I really hope not.
I would say we need to go back and
Those
check
are the only two women that I can remember. I don't remember her, the ex-girlfriend existing much at all. So that's confusing that they would get wedded. I know it's so they could have a big old happy family in that big old house that the kids wanted.
Yeah, which is kind of like sort of got, but it's like, why didn't she have a little bit more towards the end, which would make sense? That
also, the kids already said that the house was already bought by someone else. So how are they getting the house they wanted at the end? Oh, there's just too much. The movie doesn't follow its own logic. But yet, the television show featured Joaquin Phoenix, billed as Lee Phoenix, in his second role. Random fun fact. As of 2021, the feature has not been released in the digital format. So the last time it was released was on DVD in 2006 and 2012. So it's not in a digital format, interestingly enough. But Six Pack is mentioned prominently in Breakfast in Dubbo, the ninth chapter of the New Zealand-Australian comedian Tony Martin's collection of autobiographical essays, Lolly Scramble, a memoir of little consequence, made in 2005. In Breakfast in Dubbo, Martin recounts a lengthy bus trip in New South Wales that took place in '86, during which the passengers were given the opportunity to vote for a movie to watch on video. Passengers were invited to vote for either Excalibur, Beverly Hills Cop, This Is a Spinal Tap, or Six Pack. That's not a lot of options.
No, I never got to see Spinal Tap.
Despite Martin's attempts to drum up support for This Is Spinal Tap, the majority of the passengers voted to watch Six Pack, to Martin's dismay. Martin recorded a spoken word version of Breakfast in Dubbo, which appears as track 27 on his CD Get This Illegal Download in 2006. Six Pack is mentioned in the TV show Squidbillies, Season 2, Episode 11, Terminus Trouble. In the episode, Early Cueller and his son Rusty and the sheriff make a trip to Atlanta, Georgia, and visit a location used in the film. In 2019, Jonathan Davenport ran a Brewster Baker-inspired paint scheme in Dirt Late Model's biggest race, the World 100 at Eldora, and won the race. The following year, NASCAR Gander R&V and Outdoors Truck Series driver Ty Majeski painted his truck after Brewster's car for the Southern 500 Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway. The movie was featured on the full Kenny Rogers tribute episode of Disasters in the Making podcast in 2020. Kenny Rogers tribute of a podcast called Disasters in the Making. Well then.
Wow.
That's a way to honor someone.
Awesome.
But yeah, the fact that he didn't do too many more acting, it seems, after this, at least big picture acting, this one probably tanked his career for acting, at least.
Yeah, it's too bad because it's like if there was a little better direction or better continuity. I know. And again, I apologize. I do remember I was here. I followed the movie all the way through, and it's like there was a wedding scene, but it's just it didn't register. It was so quick that they showed that little blurry thing. It just didn't register after he doesn't have a girlfriend, and all of a sudden they're at the end. Oh, huh? A wedding? What? Who is this? I'm sorry. I've had to struggle with this movie. I really have.
I feel we should go on to reading reviews, which is my favorite part.
Oh, absolutely. Please do.
Okay, so we're going to Rotten Tomatoes for the moment. And what do we have? Only one review. Only one critic review. There is no audience reviews. Wow. The review by Bruce McCabe of Boston Globe. Let's see the full review. See how long it is. Otherwise, I'm just going to read the short one. The website doesn't even exist anymore where his is. Fun. But let's read the little quip of it. Six Pack is not only a vehicle for singer Kenny Rogers, but also a pleasant family movie. See? They said it's a family movie. Sure. What family you bringing it to, but sure.
I think this vehicle needed a little bit of state vehicle inspection myself.
Mm-hmm. This movie, no. As for the one other review I could find here was Janet Maslin of the New York Times. In her review, they called Six Pack good-natured but none too interesting, as a typical fable where orphans find a father, a lonely man finds a good woman, an unsuccessful racer makes good on the comeback trail, and everybody lives unreasonably happy ever after.
Oh. Can we watch that movie instead? Oh, dear.
I thought there would be more reading of other people's reviews, so I guess we have to give our own thoughts now, as if they weren't already obvious.
Yeah,
First.
I, in all fairness, I could not possibly recommend this to a friend. I've spent many years of my life having to count on whatever's over-the-air television, without satellite, without cable, and it's like, so you have to watch things that, I don't know what this is. Oh, okay, it's a movie. All right. This is the one I would leave between the commercials. And I mean no disrespect, or I don't mean to be harsh at all, but it's like, No.
Yeah, I think my review, after saying it numerous times, is this film wanted to be everything but couldn't be any of it.
I
And
think
it's
that's
just
good.
very poorly executed. Go ahead.
I think that covers. That's a very good description. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you there, but yeah, that was a good description.
Yeah, and as for do I recommend anyone else watch it? No.
There
That's
you
it.
go. It's. I mean, you could talk me into watching some of his other films, and I have seen some in the past, but this is one that I think could be left off of his playlist. I would watch and get me to watch any Western he was involved with, or any other film. I would give it a shot, but I would not. I could not. If nothing else, out of respect to him, I could not watch this again.
As for the music, I don't even think they could have made a soundtrack album because there was hardly any music in it. They just kept replaying the same one song just in bits and pieces.
Yeah, there's not enough to cover a side of an LP on this.
Yeah.
At least
So,
with certain
go
films
ahead.
we've seen in the past, certain films we've seen in the past, at least they played the song. Okay, they changed the words when they used the same song later on. Even if it's like that's the same song. Oh, wait a minute, no, you're right, it's not. Yeah, this is like, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Final thoughts then?
Oh my goodness, final thoughts. I don't mean to sound mean, but no, I could never do this one again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no real need to ever watch this again. It's just not a film I see myself coming back to.
Out of
Visiting.
respect, even if it's just out of respect to Kenny Rogers, and I admit I would watch with you or anybody some of his other films. You could sit me down and say, "We're going to watch this Kenny Roger film with such and such." It's like, okay, but no, not this. This is one best left off of one's resume.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not. It's not necessarily his fault. It's not, I'm saying it's just how it turned out.
Hmm. Also, like I mentioned before, it had a TV series. I'm guessing it did not last long because I've never once heard, just like this film, I've never once heard anyone mention it.
Yeah,
Like
and
Stoker Ace, I've heard people talk of that very rarely, but people do. Um,
mhm.
at least with that has someone talk about it. Meanwhile, this, which was released, I'm guessing, real close to the same time, like, yeah, I don't hear anyone talk about this. There's probably a good reason for it, especially with certain scenes.
Yeah. I mean, even if you wanted to believe in the children swearing, because in some films, a certain time period, people think that's funny, little kid swearing. The scene with the teenage girl putting herself at risk as a distraction so their brothers can steal cars, switch the car parts. That either could have had just a slight reference to, or preferably my part, or for my part, not there at all. Unnecessary. Unnecessary.
Indeed. But, yeah, I don't have much more final thoughts than what has already been very well stated at this point. So, I guess we have to say our goodbyes. How about you first?
Well, thank you for having me again, and well, I look forward to doing this again sometime. Different film, of course, and it uh, it was it was fun doing the review. Uh, we'll pick something else next time, something
Something
different.
better. You say something different, I say something better.
Yeah, yeah, but it's effectively the same intent. Um, well, goodbye, folks. It was nice.
Yeah. Well, now I guess I have to give my farewell. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you to Karl for also joining along for this nightmare, and literal dumpster fire, but and I guess take care, farewell, adios.